How's everyone doing? Sorry, I have to get in the zone, guys. I can't just come on and start giving up these lectures, guys. How's everyone doing today? So we're gonna talk that swap today. I'm gonna talk those s.e.c. rules for a second. We're gonna get into. I actually made a mistake, and I like to correct my mistakes as soon as I make them. So I'm gonna go ahead and correct something with the UK people yesterday. We're gonna get into swaps. We're gonna get into all sorts of fun stuff. The derivatives over there, all the fun stuff today. So everybody, let's take a bong hit one before we start this one here, because we are gonna bring up phase 6. We are gonna bring up all the back and stuff, and I'm gonna show you guys why I was talking about how important that was, because these contracts that you guys are seeing, these insane contracts. These are just things that they have to report. We're going to get into that contract. I'm going to break down similar contracts as well, so you guys can see that these are out there. They are real. These values are out. And we're going to get into them. I don't understand how they can get to these values, but we'll break them down. I'll show you where they are here in a second. Let me hit this once, and we'll get started. Alrighty, so yesterday, this is why I don't like to comment very much on stuff overseas, because I can't verify it myself. So I have to sit there and I'll have 5 or 10 guys showing me the same exact thing, and then they all say the same exact thing, and it's like, well, until I can see it, I guess I have to go off everybody's word, which I got to stop doing that a little bit too with the overseas issues. But yesterday I put up that these apes they didn't receive their shares, and because of that, they actually were going to get paid losses and interest and all this stuff. Well, that's not actually the case. What ended up happening is they did get paid, and it was about ape. And I'm just kind of curious your guys' thoughts on this, because I'm just curious. To me, it's ridiculous that they got yelled at because they didn't explain ape too well. So if you come up here, this email was going around yesterday. It was talking about how, you bought this during this time, and now what they're doing is they're going to give them payments. So what actually ended up happening is overseas, you have to let people know about a complex investment, and usually you have them sign things, and it's a whole different story over there. And they didn't explain that it was a complex investment for ape. So people that actually bought ape overseas from that time period up until November 30th, it's not shares you were gifted, people that are asking. It's only shares you bought. The value you lost that when ape went down, you got paid for that. And then on top of that, since they didn't explain to you the risk attached to ape, that's what they're saying. So basically they got yelled at. This is from HL Loyalty. And like I said, they got yelled at for not explaining the risk attached. Now they need to pay you for all your losses you suffered and 8% interest. So that is what happened. It wasn't people that didn't get it. It's that once it came over, and the conversion, all the news came out, they didn't explain enough that the risk involved and attached to it. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? They actually paid the investors. This man here got $6,000. So, they got paid decent, some of them got paid decent amount of cash. And it's nice because they're all, like they all said, a lot of them just DM me and go, sweet, I'm just going to throw it right back in AMC and free shares. And the price went down for them. So a lot of them are happy because they're getting some good value right now. But I'm just curious, what are your guys' thoughts of them having to pay people for their losses and interest? Curious. Anybody got any thoughts on that? It's cool for them, but I wish United States regulators would do some, help investors out like that. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was kind of funny. We'll get to what our regulators are doing. I'm going to bring up, should we just go straight? Yeah, I'm going to go straight to the s.e.c. thing real quick, just because it is such a fucking gong show. It is such a joke. So the s.e.c.'s out here, before we get into all the good stuff here, the s.e.c.'s out here in Elon, we got to bring him up for 1 second, just because he brought up something that I do want to cover. So the s.e.c.'s talking about how they got this new asset-backed security rules. It's a conflict of interest. Basically what this does is if they're selling securities, they have to wait 1 year before they're able to do some short malicious practice against it. Which you're sitting there thinking, holy fuck, that's incredible. And you're sitting there and you're reading everything and it sounds awesome. You start off, you go, any underwriters, placement agents, purchasers, sponsors, affiliates, subsidiaries. You're sitting there like, yes, yes, yes. Any entity of such asset-backed securities, including a synthetic asset-backed security. So, bringing up those synthetic asset-backed securities, once again, all the goods, shall not for any time for a period ending on 1 year after the first closing of the sale of the asset-backed security, they cannot engage in any transaction that would involve or result in any material conflict of interest. So basically, they can't sell you something and then go fuck with it for 1 year. Sweet. And they're sitting there, s.e.c, oh, it's one of the biggest things. Now, this is what's fucked up. This was already in the Dodd-Frank. And they're just like, certain parts of it, they're like, we're not going to take that. We're just going to adopt them. And we're just going to kind of see if we... What the fuck? If the Dodd-Frank thing was written to stop all of these things, and you tell me it was implemented, every fucking aspect of it should have been implemented. And then, what do? And this is why I hate the fucking s.e.c. So what they'll do, they'll come out, hey, in the Dodd-Frank, when it's first written, right? Oh, it sounds great. Perfectly written, perfectly everything. And then what they do is they put it out there for these pieces of shit. This is how the s.e.c. gets their bribes, and this is how they get their payoffs. Right here, I'm telling you right now. So they'll sit there and they'll go, we're going to crack down on this. Okay? And then they'll sit there and go, holy fuck. If they actually implement this, fuck, we're going to be fucked up right here. Like, this is actually a big deal for us. And then you'll have Doug Sifu come on Twitter and laugh it off like it's no big deal when in the end he's fucking sweating balls. So then what they'll do is we're going to come after you guys. We're going to get comments and all this shit, right? And then all of a sudden, they'll water it down, and they'll water it down. Because this has been revised. And if you keep looking at all this stuff, and you go back, I'm not going to keep clicking on all the fucking things, you can go back and look at revisions. These fucking assholes, you know what they fucking added? Look at this. And now they're like, all right, now we can get it in here. This provides exemptions and prohibits for certain risk, dude, for risk hedging, for hedging activities, liquidity, dude, Murphy, hold on. How do you always find my shoe or something? Like, it's like, why? Why is it always when I have a video he needs attention? It's just hilarious, dude. I'm sorry, where was that here? Certain risk, agitating hedging activities, liquidity, bona fide market-making activities. In other words, for everybody but the fucking criminals. That's what they added. Buddy, stop. Hold on. Gosh, dang it. He's eating everything right now. Yeah, so it's like, so then they did a revision, they watered it down, they go, but now this doesn't, so I mean, they're sitting there talking this up, and everybody's like, it's probably going to be a nothing rule, because yeah, it is. It was amazing. So everybody that talks it up, yeah, it was fucking incredible back in the day, and before they got a hold of it and botched it up and cut it all up and look, oh yeah, here we go. You guys, we're stopping it all. We're gonna crack down on conflict of interest. So then, these guys sit there and they lobby and they pay him in the background. They bribe him. They do their bullshit. And then the s.e.c. is like, you're right. And then they get Hester Pierce in there. Yeah, you're right. We better go ahead and water this down a little bit. You're correct. And they'll water it down. And then by the time it's to the point of who gives a fuck, because it affects everybody but anybody we give a shit about. The fact that bona fide market-making activities, once again, see, here's something that this is something I want people to look at here quick, because, it's absolutely fucking hilarious. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. And it's like, if you want to know your gut, they don't give a fuck. Yeah. Okay. So, when Bernie Madoff and they figured out his scheme, and we all know they ended up using his scheme, and I'm going to show you right now they end up using his scheme. So one of his key mechanism to his Ponzi scheme was this exemption that he had. This exemption, they changed the name. They straight up changed the name to the Madoff exemption. And it's still around. Like, market makers can use it. There's no laws to change it. There's nothing about it. They go, this is how he did it, and we're gonna keep it around. And now we're gonna tell the new market makers what he was doing. The Bernie Madoff exemption allowed market makers such as Madoff to sell stock short to facilitate a customer buy order, even if the stock in question was on a downward tick. Even if it's on the SSR, it doesn't matter. They can still use the Madoff exemption. It's straight up called the Madoff fucking exemption. They didn't care. They just named it after him. Isn't that, I mean, that's insane. They're sitting there always the biggest, every fucking one of the richest guys in the world. Oh, what a fucking criminal Bernie Madoff was. What a criminal. Look what he was doing. And then instead of fucking doing anything, they just named the exemption on him and go ahead and they keep allowing it. As long as there's orders in the name of liquidity, and that's the thing. That's why these guys are fucking stupid. That's why this whole shit is dumb. Anything in the name of liquidity. Okay, so you sit there and then to a normal person, that's the thing. They think we're so fucking stupid. So they sit there and go, anybody that hears the word liquidity thinks that that's cash, that's asset, that's on hand. But it's not. It's an IOU. It's a here, I'm going to create liquidity by saying here's an IOU to facilitate a trade, even though there's not assets backed on one end of the trade. I'm going to go ahead and say I'll back that asset in the name of liquidity. I'll back that asset that's not fully backed by your broker or anybody right now. I'll back it in the name of liquidity. If it's not there, my exemption allows me to create it. Like I said, the fact that they just named the fucking thing after him is a joke. Watch this. There was the Dodd-fucking-Frank Act, but hold on. Here, I can't remember what I fucking Googled to find that s.e.c. document off the top of my head, motherfucker. I should have looked again harder. It literally says that they haven't made any fucking changes towards this exemption. Oh, wait, I think I posted it on my Twitter. I think I posted it last night. I might not have. Can't remember if I posted it or not. It was at like 4 a.m. I thought I left my computer on. Like, come on, I could go on my history and find it, but I have so many fucking tabs, it's gonna take forever. I don't see. I'm not gonna keep looking. If I don't see it in a second, fuck it. I'm not gonna find it. I'm not gonna look for it. They literally, like I said, they haven't changed any rules to attack those specific things, anything related to his Ponzi scheme. Yes, there was changes in the market, but the things that he did specifically, they haven't changed them. They just renamed rules after him. And then they named them in exemptions. Here's what he did, and now for market makers, these are just the Bernie Madoff exemptions. Okay. Only for bona fide market makers. Like I said, remember the Overstock lawsuit. The only reason we found out about any of this stuff, the sham resets, the sham closeouts, all of this crap, because the guy wasn't a bona fide market maker. That's the only reason he got caught. So, well, fuck it, at this point. One of the things here, everybody's talking about with Elon, and one of the clips I just want to play, because, not this one, it's this one, because this is, damn it. The wrong one. Because this is true, and it's like I'm not a huge Elon fan, but right here it's like, dude.
And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them.
And I mean, he's dead on. And I mean, that's dead on right there. It's like, I showed you the other day about Bill Gates. This motherfucker sits here and he's like, all right, guys, I need all my journalists to write these giant fucking articles on me, huge articles on how I'm the greatest motherfucker on the earth. I go ahead and I donated $5 billion to charity. And then they go on and talk, they write in one sentence, he donated that $5 billion to his own charity. Okay, so in other words, it was a tax fucking scheme, because now, again, that's a $5 billion tax write-off. He only needs to put 15% into the charity, and now he can pocket the $3.5 fucking billion, and guess what? He's good to go. He doesn't give a shit. He saved how much already in taxes? He paid 15% instead of what he should have done. He said these guys know all their schemes, and then he sits there and he pays these pieces of shit. Hey, write in one letter, one sentence that it's my own charity, but then write 46 pages on how much good this charity does, what they work with, how much change they've done. They haven't done anything. All you've done is sat there and been a fucking tax evade. If you want to know that charities are just a tax evasion scheme for these fuckers, why does every rich politician have one? Just the rich ones. Oh, it's because the super rich ones, they need a place to funnel their dark fucking money. All their leftover contribution funds, campaign funds, they can donate to charities. Guess what the ones they're donating to? The politicians are donating to the charities of their family members, of the ones they own. Okay, and they're allowed to gift. There's literally laws allowing them to gift out stuff for like family members' charities. Well, guess what? They're gifting like the whole fund. There's like no cap on it. They don't give a fuck. Oh, I just got a dark money fund of $15 million. Let me go ahead and gift it to my little buddy over here, or gift it to my family member's charity. I only got to pay a little bit, but guess what? They know how much they're going to pay the guy, so when they bribe him, it's not like they don't put it in the bribe. It's not like they're going to be like, hey, I'll give you $15 million. They'll end up giving him enough to pay for the other shit, so the guy gets $15 million. And after paying his 15%, he gets to legally keep it. Yay. It's a joke. It's a fucking complete joke. Imagine what would happen if Bill Gates would have put $5 billion to any charity that he didn't own, like he actually says. I'm this great guy and doing that. No, you're not. You're buying up all the fucking farmland. All of it. All by all the water sources. You're buying it all up, and now you're holding it. No matter what, that alone should be a fucking crime. How much land Bill Gates owns should be a fucking crime in itself. It's ridiculous how much fucking land that guy owns. Who knows? The fact this dude's out here fucking putting shit in mosquitoes and then releasing those mosquitoes into the fucking population. You're injecting shit into mosquitoes. They're going out into the population. And now all this fucking new shit's coming out in the world. Well, wonder why. Because you guys are fucking, you're playing God and shit. You're trying to inject shit into this and this and that. I'm not even going to get into the vaccine. I mean, Jesus. I can pull up Pfizer shit right now, and you can look at the new stuff going on with Pfizer. They're now set to make billions again on this brand new fucking thing going on over in China. Crazy. They just happen to have a new, brand new vaccine for it already ready to go. So they're already feeling, oh, we're ready. We're already back on. We got to just happen to fucking have a new thing ready to go. Crazy. But anyways, the problem is here's the thing. Even though, guys, I mean, this is great. I'm glad he says this, and everybody wanted to praise this guy. We also know he works with the wrong team. And that's the problem. There's like 4 of these fucking big rich cults, and I don't really think any of them are really in it to help humanity that much, but at least, I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing, and I want to get your opinion on this on Twitter, because, I mean, I mainly work off Twitter. But since Elon's bought in Twitter, I feel like shadow banning's a little worse. I feel like engagement's way down on people. I feel like there's a ton more fucking sex bots. I mean, I'm not saying it was perfect before. It was obviously censored as shit before. But it's like, I don't feel like censorship went down. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that just, you might be able to write it, but I feel like it instantly gets shadow banned. And the fucking new CEO basically said that she already does that. So, is it already that much better? But he sits here and he'll say things like this.
Advertising? Blackmail me with money? Go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, let me ask you then.
And it's funny because you sit there and it's like,
Look at this reporter. His boss, he just said, "Go fuck yourself" to his boss on national TV. Look at this reporter, and that just shows you about Main Street media right there. Oh fuck, he's bashing my boss, and he's sitting there in his earpiece. What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? It's so fucking controlled. This dude's, look at this dude. He's freaking out. Like fuck. He just talks shit about my boss and all these guys that fucking paying me to fucking be this media show piece of crap.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about
And then he goes on like, how do you think that about all these people that fuck off, dude? And now he sticks up for all those other people that are out there. Well, how do you feel about this? That they all got together? I mean, like I said, it's whatever here because I don't care. It's just billionaires fighting with each other. But it's like, dude, I wish more people would listen to this one and realize that even Elon himself, that's why I played this clip and I played you the other one. Because Elon himself does the same thing. I feel like he spends more money pretending to be good and helping humanity than he does. I mean, yes, he does a lot of good-ass things, but, I mean, dude, the guy also now is getting into some shady shit. Let's be fucking real. We all saw the soccer game. We seen some of the roads this man's going down. I'm just saying, I don't want people thinking this dude is a complete god, but I feel like we're giving this dude too many fucking passes. That's all I'm saying. But let's get into this shit here quick, because I wanted to get into this swap here quick, because a lot of people came here for this swap shit, and they want to see what's going on. So this little article came out here, and it talks about this swap. I can't find the specific swap, but now that I see it's cleared. So if you guys want to come on here, just so you guys can join me. Everybody join this link quick. Everybody in this chat, click on that link, because we're going to go through this quick together, because I want people to, like, follow me, so you guys can know how to do this later. Okay, so when you pull up this link, you guys can see this is swap data. So people see this, and right away, if you're looking at my screen, you can see right away, here's one right here, right off the top. You got one, it's, where the hell is it? Of course, here we go. So you got one for 02/28, 2024. Notional value, you see it's just 9999999999999. There's your 99 trillion. There's one there. If you guys come down here, make sure you guys can see it on the OPV here. But if you guys come down to, scroll down here and go to equities, okay? I'm going to show you how to read these swaps so people can understand what these mean. So you got equities here. You'll see equities Canada. Come over to the right side. You'll see it says maximize. Click on that quick. Boom. Now, you'll see these right at the top. You'll see all sorts of ones. And this is what's crazy, because I've talked to people in finance. I've sent people DMs that know way more than I know. And even they're like, they explained it to me what it meant, but even they're like, I don't understand how they can get to this value. It makes no sense. But I'm going to show you what the swap is and everything. And then we're going to get into ISDA and why I was talking about those agreements, because I'm going to show you one of the main ways they get away from getting margin called, because a lot of people think that they just need to have the collateral, and the only way for them to not get margined is to have security and have this. But another way that they can get away with it is called it's just covering the risk. You don't necessarily cover your position, you don't cover your asset, you cover your risk, and that's what they talk about by hedging positions. Well, a lot of people don't understand that that's what they can do with these swaps. And that's one of the ways that we find out that they can get away with it from these regulators, by not having the positions and not having this. They can go through, get these certain stupid-ass swaps, basket swaps, and these equity swaps, whatever they need to get, and they can go ahead and throw them on here with flex options, Mary puts, buy rights, like they were showing you before with the ones in the previous lawsuits. But they can, well, give me 1 second here. 32 degrees here in Minnesota. I got my back door wide open for the puppy. Otherwise, he just bothers me the whole time. But so back to these swaps here. But you guys, so there's all sorts of different types of swaps here. But you can come over here, and like I said, one of the things you want to look at is there's different columns. So one of the things that's insanely hard, I don't even know how to explain this one to you guys. They didn't know how to explain this to me. Even they're like, that's some pretty fucking weird shit. I don't know what's going on here. But if you look, because there's a big difference between the notional value and the price of it. So when you're looking at the price and it says it's this, you're sitting there like, holy shit. And then when you're looking over at the notional value, you gotta take the leg here. It's not that value, you take the leg. boom, divide it, and you get your actual value. That's how this guy ended up coming up with the 150 trillion worth of exposure here on this 999. So if you look at this, I can't find this one. I don't know if he used this website. I looked at the s.e.c. I couldn't find that one specifically. I don't know where it went. I can't find it under CFTC. I can't find that specific swap that he's talking about. Oh wait, you guys can't look at that. I don't know where that specific one is. It says for him just straight up commodity or equities here. So I thought it would be under this tab here, but it's not. So if anyone has the link, I don't know exactly what site he used for this one, but if you look at this specific one, what this guy talks about here, it talks about how they have 150 trillion exposure, and it's due on September 15th. And if you come down here, I just want to highlight one thing. So you want to look at what this is, okay? So if you look up at the top, you want to look exactly what type of swap it is. All this dude looked at was an equity swap. Well, there's way more to that. You got to read the entire thing. It's a variant equity swap. It's a basket type. Okay, so what that means is they have a giant, you have a swap with somebody, okay? You have a giant basket of equities, tons of them, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to bet on the variance of the price. There's another one that you could do that we can go over here that's massive, and it's a volatility one. So you can do the same thing by betting on the volatility. You can do them with dividends. You can do all sorts of different type of swaps. If you guys want here, if you're actually looking into these swaps with me on the site, if you're actually looking through this data, if you want to know, because you can click on, before I get, like, I'm going to get into specific ones here so you can actually look at them. But if you want to know what any of these things mean, if you go right here on this link, this is the index, okay? This will tell you, this is a glossary. This tells you everything you need to know. So if you don't understand a term or anything, come here and then you can read everything. Now, this is why I talked about ISDA, as you guys can see. These are ISDA contracts. Some of these need to be reported. This is why I told you guys about ISDA so much before and why it was such a big deal. Because there's so much of these that are unreported. It's in the fucking ridiculous amount. I don't know if you guys remember this from before. Just look at this alone, just so I can show you an example. We'll get into more numbers later. But just for a quick example. FX swaps, currency swaps, that is at 80 trillion. It's an 80 trillion blind spot. There's only 40 trillion in that's what I'm saying. There's only 40 trillion in assets worth in the world. So how can you have an 80 trillion blind spot? This is what I talk to people. Everybody will sit there and be like, oh yeah, well that's notional value. The notional value in contracts right now is over 6 quadrillion. So if that's the notional value, what is the actual real value in the price? There's not that much in the world. There's not that many assets out there. There's not that much money. It's not out there. But it's still in the hundreds of trillions, even if you take it away. And you're sitting there going, what the fuck? The derivatives market, Warren Buffett says it all the time. It is a massive ticking fucking time bomb. And when it goes off, it's going to be the end of everything. And that's why they want to switch to tokenization so bad. Because this is where everything fucking goes to hide. It's a fucking joke. And the reason, before I get back into this, the reason I fucking hate JP Morgan, the reason I tell everybody, this is our number one guy. I already showed you, they back more hedge funds in the world, in the entire world. They all go to JP Morgan. And what does that mean? What does that tell you guys? That means when they need a bailout, they go to JP Morgan and write a contract, a derivatives contract. Now, this is a very common thing in our community that is incorrect. People think, so when these guys come and they margin call these guys, people sit there and think, hey, is it just collateral on this? It also has to do with the risk. So one of the things that these guys can do is instead of covering their position or being even close to margined, what they'll do is they'll cover the risk attached to the position. So they'll go to a bank, in this case. So let's say I'm about to get, here I am. I'm this fucking hedge fund, right? I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible. I'm this hedge fund because this happens every time. And this is why it's a fucking joke. And they show this, and you've had multiple people talk about this. Oh, if I'm a regulator, okay? So I'm Gary Boy over here. God, I hate this dude. I mean, he does these things, and then you sit there and think he's helping us out. And then he revises things to go, never mind, this doesn't hurt, this doesn't count, we're giving exemptions to bona fide market makers, and if in the name of liquidity, and if we need to do some risk for hedging, well, you can go ahead and do that too. Well, what the fuck? What? So you're telling me if I need a price to go down because I'm not hedged correctly, I can now go ahead and fuck with the position? Is this not alone counter the entire purpose? You're telling me if I'm not hedged if my hedging isn't correctly because price shot up or went down too much, I can go ahead and affect it real quick to get me properly hedged? What the hell? And in the name of liquidity and bona fide market makers, whatever they got to do. Like I said, the s.e.c. talking about, oh, we're going after conflict of interest. Joke. So, again, here's little Gary Bear. And he calls up his little buddy over here, and he's like, here's the little Gary over here. Oh, man, you got to go over here, and these guys, you got to check them out. And he gets his little boyfriend over here. He brings his little case here, and guess what? He goes over, and he calls up the hedge fund. He goes, hey, I'm coming over on Friday. He tells them when he's coming. He says, I'm going to come over on Friday. Make sure your risk is hedged for. Okay? Yeah, no problem. Sounds good, buddy. I'll make sure to take care of that. Now I'm this hedge fund, and instead of fucking going, well, you know, some people go, well, they might need to buy positions and cover. No, they don't. They keep doing this shit with swaps. They keep doing this shit with the back-end master agreements and this crap. If I'm this hedge fund, it's going to be cheaper for me instead. That's a little higher. I can go over here and go, well, what are the shares? And then I can actually buy positions. That's one of their options, which they're not going to do that. They don't give a fuck. Or what they can do is they can go over to these corrupt piece of shit banks. And just to show you what I'm talking about, where the fuck is it? Why do I always lose my tabs? One second. Here.
And what I see all over the place is people who care about
Elon,
looking good.
enough. Here we go. Where the hell did it go? Here we go. Okay. And this is my point. Look at this. Total derivatives. These motherfuckers, JP Morgan Chase, okay? JP Morgan Chase, this is their exposure from all their contracts, okay? This is their exposure from all their contracts after netting, doing everything, okay? This is what they're exposed to. So you have these people that are like, man, the bank went down after a $6 billion thing. If these fucking people got hit, they have $328 billion in exposure to contracts. That is 38% of all bank exposure in derivatives contracts is JP fucking Morgan. The big five up here are all the five I tell you every time I have a live stream and I say which banks to get the fuck away from. Notice how I always talk about these five, get the fuck away from these five. Notice how I always show you these five are going down. People are always like, why you keep showing me those? Because they're the ones that got all the fucking exposure that when it gets spoof. These five are if one of these go down, they're fucked. And even if they need to get absorbed, if they need to get, I mean, they're gonna, like I said, these guys, all of them. That's where the criminals go. Before I get to that, where the hell is it? That's why, again, even in this one, I was going to show you guys Bank of America. I showed you guys last time. 35 Wells Fargo's going down. I showed you 60 other banks, including HSBC, BMBPs, have another 60. Well, on top of that, now you got two dozen Bank of Americas are closing down in fucking California. So we have more and more and more of these guys, the big guys, getting fucked, losing branches, having problems. People are leaving, deposits are going, and like I said, this is what we need. We need these guys to get fucked because why? They are the creditor. So back to the drawing. So if I'm a hedge fund, I can go over here, and I'll show you this right now, because if you come over here and talk about swaps and different things, the first thing it talks about are Variance swaps are financial derivatives used to hedge or speculate the magnitude of a price movement of an underlying asset. Talks about different things that they use. Hedge traders use swaps to cover short volatility positions, and they use swaps to cover other positions. And when it says cover, and people sit there and they go, well, they're buying, they're getting a swap and they're using it and they're filling positions. No, they're just using it to hedge against the risk of that position. So that risk, that's what they're worrying about. Well, the risk isn't there because you have this fucking swap that cancels it out. It hedges it for you. So instead of me going over here and actually having to purchase it, I'm going to go to some stupid fucking bank, probably, like I was showing you in most cases, JP douchebag fucking Morgan. Most likely I'm going to go to the criminals, and I already showed you they work with cartel, Russian oligarchies, blacklisted people. They work with fucking Jeffrey Epstein. They don't give a fuck. They'll take it all. If you will give them corrupt money, they will take it because they already owe it to somebody else. But they don't care. I fucking hate JP Morgan. Dumbest criminal organization in the whole fucking world. Most criminal, they're a terrorist organization at this point. They fund fucking Jeffrey Epstein's island. Just because Jeffrey's gone doesn't mean if they processed $1 billion in human trafficking, they don't need Jeffrey Epstein. They can pick any other up and buy another fucking island. And that's my point. Who's the real mastermind criminal? Guess what? Jeffrey Epstein not Jeffrey Epstein. JP Morgan funded Jeffrey Epstein for the island he bought. Guess what else they funded him for? The fucking JP Morgan funded his airports. So if I'm JP Morgan and I bought your island, I basically helped you buy your island, I helped you buy your fucking planes, probably all your schools and properties, and then I processed $1 billion worth of human trafficking. Who's the real criminal? I'm not saying Jeffrey Epstein's not the real criminal, but who's the real mastermind? Who's really the one who's really doing the ability to have the crime? I guess I feel like they're they're the Sith and he's Darth Vader is what I'm trying to get at. They're worse than him. They don't need him to continue the shit. They're the biggest criminal organization ever. They're rolling 20 tons of coke on boats for cartel, and then they're going, we need a war on drugs. Okay, start with JP Morgan. But if I'm this hedge fund, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fucking, like it says even here, I'm just going to migrate the fucking risk. I'm going to hedge. I'm going to just migrate the fucking head, and I'm going to hedge it with the swap instead. So I'm going to come over here, the bank's going to just charge me a fucking fee, and that's it. And then I'll hedge my risk position, and then when my little buddy over here comes over here, he goes, well, your risk, everything looks like it's hedged for. Your risk is covered. It's taken care of. And then this thing expires, and what do you know? He's gone. The risk is taken care of from the bank temporarily, and then it's gone, and guess what? The risk comes right back to the douchebags. But the people who we all know are supposed to be showing them, hey, you're fucking over leveraged, they don't give a fuck. They just let these guys open more. So back to this thing. So if you look at this thing going around, this is a variance return swap. It's a basket return swap. So this is a thing, and it was processed with Europe. And one of the ones I'll show you here. So let's break one of these down. Let's open one of these big ass ones up so you actually can look at it and be like, okay. So if you come down here, so if you guys are back still on that link I sent before, if you're not, I'll send it one more time quick just so you guys can come on this with me. Boom, there you go. Link is in the chat. So now go scroll down a little bit. You'll see equities right here in the middle. Hit maximize. Boom, come on down. And now you guys can see the thing. You can see the values, the price, the notional legs, how much, everything. So, like I said, if you don't know what anything means, here's your apex. Go straight to the bottom. It's page 19. The apex is on page 19 if you don't understand anything. Now, let's go back down here. Now, the one that nobody can explain to me is this fucking one. So, this is a volatility one. And this is basically the same thing as this one over here in this variant. So basically, this was a giant swap, and it was a giant basket, and it was on the index, okay? And I'm sorry, that wasn't that one. I've been looking at a lot of hold on. The one that was on the index was this one. Right here. All right. What you guys can do is if you come over here, go scroll to the very bottom, you'll see the one that is, I think this is the one he's talking about, because the value, I guess, could technically change, and this is the only one I could see. But if you come down in the middle of this and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see this one. It's basically, it's a Europe. It's the same. I mean, I think this is it, but I don't, it's a different type of thing. So I don't know what the fuck. I can't find this exact one, so it's hard for me to pull it up. But I'll just do it on this one so you guys understand what the hell's going on. All right. So I'll come down to the very bottom, see the 9981, click all the way on the left. You'll see ENT Newt, whatever. Click on it. You can go on, pull this up, okay? Now you can actually look at the stuff. You can click on the side and you can scroll over. Okay, so there's a lot more information if you pull this up on the side there and hit over. Now, one of the things about this, so that we find interesting, is if you actually look at the leg amount, it's only 390,000. But if you look at the price of this, what the hell? There's no, like I said, there's nothing in the world that could equal this. So basically what this is saying is there's a giant, if you keep looking over, this one goes off. It talks about the index it uses. So basically this is on the Canadian index, okay? If you go up to the top, you're looking at the Canadian ticker. This is basically what this is this is a giant basket swap, and it contains the entire index, okay? All the index. And it's saying that the value of that is fucking 999 trillion, or sorry, 998 trillion, whatever the hell it was. 998 trillion, okay, is the value of this. Well, everybody I'm asked is that when I show them it's under the price, they don't know how to explain that because they're saying the value of this basket is that, and there's no fucking way in hell. Now, some people would say maybe it's an accounting error, maybe it's a placeholder for capping out the value of the current system because the current system is getting upgraded because you guys can see there's shit like this that makes 0 sense. Well, if it was a placeholder in a system that was capping out a value, it would always be the same value. It would always be the 999999. You wouldn't have different numbers like this. Like this. This one right here is even bigger. This swap right here is even fucking bigger. It's a volatility swap. So they're basically, you can bet on volatility, futures volatility of a stock. So they're betting on the volatility of all these stocks in a basket. And they're saying that the basket value apparently is fucking that. What's that, a quadrillion? So over a quadrillion. But no one can explain this because when you look at the... God damn it. Sorry, I know you guys can't see OBV. Hold on, I'll let it come up. When you look at the notional amount, even if you divide it, it's to this point where you're like, what the hell? Nothing, because when you divide it by the notional amount, even... or anything, like, dude, you're talking 22,000. Like, nobody can tell me what this is because nobody says this should be, like, nobody can comprehend this. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is they're telling you there's a swap fucking out there on the index, the Canadian indexes, and the value of this swap was this, and basically it expires during this period. Well, this is a daily one, so daily they'll sit there and they have to either pay the difference or they collect the difference at the end of the maturity date. So people that don't think these are out there, they're out there. These things are fucking ridiculous. Nobody can tell me what the hell they are. Nobody in finance can explain that amount. They can tell me what the swap is. I mean, I can show you what the swap, like I said, I'll show you what the swaps are. They're doing these to hedge positions. But like I said, if they're using these to hedge positions, and what the hell is worth this value? And if that's the case, what the fuck are you using it to hedge? Why do you need that value to hedge? What positions are you fucking hiding? What positions are you, like I said, like what the fuck? And who's clearing this? Who the fuck is clearing this? And like I sat here and like this is the thing I thought, you know, because I showed one of my buddies this, and you know, he had a thought at first, and he was like, you know, because it's weird. If you come here and you look at this one in Europe, look what it's fucking settled in. Sorry. The Swiss franc. Huh. So a Swiss bank. Okay? So a Swiss bank has a swap out there over a fucking... Look at this. Like I said, this... I just don't know. But that's like I said, it's a Swiss bank. Well, who the fuck, and a Canadian equity swap. Well, who the hell, like I said, what is going on here? If there's somebody out there, because I can't find anybody on Twitter, and I know people out there that are working in finances that can't explain this. If you can explain what I'm missing here, show me. But here they are for everyone that thinks they're not out there. And like I said, back in the day when I was talking about is the contracts, and this is why these fucking guys aren't, everyone, why aren't hedge funds going down? How do hedge funds always get away with it? I'm telling you right now, why do you think Doug Seafood, I call him Seafood because he's fat as fuck and a douchebag. Why do you think only thing he ever talked to me, like, you notice how he would only talk about things I was correct about? Why are you talking about the fucking, the iron workers? And now he's in a lawsuit with them, and all of a sudden you can't talk about that. Why are you talking about payment for order flow when it's as an expense for us? And then we show him it is. We show him that's how your business works. Completely off it. If you can't intercept my fucking orders from my broker, and my broker is just filling it, how much fucking money are you losing? How much fucking money are you losing? If I'm a market maker, I'm not going to do payment for order flow and pay those fees unless I'm making money off it. That's common fucking sense. So when we talk about the auction house and how he's scared about these certain rules, because no matter what, the only thing I'll say about Gary, the only thing I'll say the only rule, and I look into his rules a lot, the only rule that I see right now that will fuck market makers like Citadel and Virtue that Gary's doing, that will actually, in my eyes, truly make a difference, is his auction house rule. I don't see a way around it. I don't see a way around it. Because if it's an open auction, that means that they're not sitting there stealing these from brokers. They're not able to go get them from the brokers. They're not outbidding it. They're not getting these rebates from brokers, which means that they're not, you know, like I showed you, that was one of the things that we needed to fix was rebate tiers, because these brokers would have certain people like Citadel. Well, even though, let's say I'm a customer, right? Just to show you what I'm talking about. Like, so let's say I'm a customer, and this is how another thing that Dave Lauer showed to the s.e.c. and the committee to show them that this rebate, all this shit needs to change. Because let's say I'm a broker right here, and I'm a retail investor, okay? And I send my order to this broker, and this broker now, he goes over here, and you have, because more than likely he's going to go to a market maker. Well, let's say he's got a market maker here and here. Just to use two ones everyone knows, we'll use douchebag Virtue, and we'll use douchebag Citadel, okay? So let's say even though Virtue will give them a better rate, they'll give them a better price, a better spread. If Citadel is giving them if they have a better rebate set up with them, and they have more order flow with Citadel, even if Citadel has a worse spread between market makers, the broker will go to them if they have a better rebate tier system set up with them, and they have an agreement type thing where, hey, you just keep sending orders my way, because that way the broker knows, you know, he's not going to go here for the benefit of them. He's going to go to them to be like, all right, I know you're going to make more money. You're going to stay in business, and you're going to make sure that I always get more money and I always stay in business. I get the flow my way. If you come my way with these, like I said, it's just a fucking complete gong show, dude. It's you bribe me, I'll bribe you. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. But Dave Lauer showed that rebate system, it's got to go. It's just, like I said, it's all a fucking gong show. So, so like I was saying back with these. If you guys, like I said, I can't find, I assumed, because you can refresh these pretty quickly if you go over to the s.e.c. The thing that I don't get, because, you know, when you're talking CFTC, the only thing that makes sense is he saw this as a CFTC swap. Because if you look at the picture here, unless he just cut it off, but I can't see him being able to, well, I guess he could. But if you look, it's just equity. And if you look at all the other tabs, I guess, unless I'm missing another website, this is the only one I could think of. But you have the SECs attached. You have Canada attached. This one, it just straight up says swaps. So I'm assuming he saw this like this. But if I hit refresh, like I said, I don't see it anymore. But that's the thing. That's why I hate fucking ISDA. That's why I hate these derivatives. The problem is, so with even with phase 6, why? I'll show you guys why I thought phase 6 isn't doing anything. So, by understanding now how hedge funds haven't gotten margin called. They haven't got margin called in how long? And then we show you guys, hey, they just lost $43 billion in a week. If hedge funds lost $43 billion in a week, shouldn't that one person have gotten a margin call? Anybody? No one? No. It's because they can go do these master agreements. Again, that's why Doug Sifu always attacked your master agreement. Oh, good call on your master agreement. Yeah, I know. You don't want, the only thing, everything I ever talk about, the only thing you ever talk about is master agreements. And how I'm wrong about your fucking iron workers. Well, go ahead and explain that to your lawyers. Because you're in a lawsuit, bitch. So, like I said, these guys, they're going to get fucked here, guys. These swaps, this migrating risk here and there and left and right, it's just a fucking complete gong show. Because, like I said, it's all in the derivatives. Everybody doesn't understand it's all in the derivatives. When phase 6 came, the big change, like right now. So, before phase 6 happened, okay? What was going on is you would have a bank, you would have one bank and a hedge fund, okay? And instead of them having to clear this with like any broker, anybody, what they would do is this bank who is writing the contract, so they're going to write the agreement, right? So here you go. I'm JP Morgan, criminal organization, terrorist, fucking financial terrorist organization, JP Morgan. If you're in JP Morgan, get the fuck out of them. Let's pretend I'm criminal organization JP Morgan. What I'm gonna do is you have a hedge fund coming over here, and he's gonna come up to me and say, "I need this. I need to manage this risk right here." Okay, perfect. Let's write a fucking agreement. How big is it? I don't even give a fuck. It doesn't matter. I'll just pretend I got you right here, buddy. Size don't matter. But if you want a big size, I'm gonna need a bigger fee. Okay? So what used to have to happen was they would do is called a credit support annex. Okay? So you would have this guy walk up to him. He would write on fucking paper, and then they would, in quotes, put it in the system. You know what I'm saying? They would put it in the system, even though we wouldn't hear that. But then all their storage facilities suddenly had fires after. Huh. So they would write this shit on paper. Okay, they put it in their files. I'm sure they did have it on their own database, but it was on like a private server database that only they could fucking see, and regulators probably had no clue existed. But either way, so the hedge fund comes up to him. He goes, "I need a fee if I'm going to give you this risk." Okay, the assets to back your risk. Sure. So they'll have a piece of paper. He says, X will give you 10 million shares worth of fucking risk leverage, whatever you want to call it, whatever term you want to call it, in whatever form that they needed in. And like I said, you needed in Mary puts with flex options, buy rights, because if they do it with flex options, Mary puts, and buy rights, on top, it can cancel each other out in a sham reset, and on top of that, they will not be the buy rights are how they get away from taxes. So people will go, how don't they get away getting audited? Because they can do the buy right attached to that trade. So then it cancels it out for tax purposes. So now they're not. So now IRS is thinking everything's great too. So like I said, it's a complete scam. So like I said, you got buy rights, Mary puts. These are just one way. They can do it in all sorts of other ways. Mary puts, flex options. So whatever. Back to this. So now he comes over here and he goes, I got to make sure you can afford this contract. Duh. So then he goes, okay, I'm not going to make you put any kind of collateral down. Just pay my fee. I'm not going to make you put any collateral down up front, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to make you put what is called a credit support annex, which is just going to be a second piece of paper, okay? That's attached to the first one. They probably used a stapler even. Probably even stapled that bitch together. That's how fucking precise they were with these things, okay? They probably stapled that thing twice, dude. Okay? So now he staples the second piece of paper. Now what's on the second piece of paper? It just shows their assets. It shows their money. That shows that they have collateral. Cool. So it shows they have collateral, but they don't need to deposit that collateral at that time. And if they go and open another one, guess what? Ask Bill Huang. They don't need to show that they have this other one. They can keep using the fucking collateral again. They can use it on multiple ones. Crazy. So, you would think, all right, now this piece of paper that these two guys did basically a backdoor handshake fucking agreement on, that could be worth trillions, billions, and billions of dollars, you would think, hey, this shit's got to be backed up, right? It's got to be on a computer. It's got to be cleared. It's got to go through like regulators and this. No, it didn't. Not before phase 6. It definitely didn't. So now, this guy who wrote this agreement then took his fee, goes, I'm going to clear it. He clears it. The bank, JP Morgan, clears it. The guy who wrote the agreement says, all right, we're good to go. The second they slap the credit support annex on, they slam it, they email it back to the guy, and the guy goes, we're good to go. And then he approves it. He does. The guy who wrote the contract. Conflict of interest much? Well, of course they're going to keep taking every fucking contract. They don't give a shit. Why would they? They're just going to keep taking the fees. Well, there's these things called sham resets and sham closeouts. And I'm not going to keep pulling this up and keep going into it. But just so people can go, okay, he's not fucking talking out of his ass. This is in court documents. They won. Here, go to this website. Type in Control F, type in sham resets, sham closeouts. You will see the words flex options right under them. They were doing flex and short-term options to hedge, and they were doing all this shit, and it would have been all fine and dandy if this guy was a bona fide market maker. Well, now it doesn't seem like they give a fuck. They just let the bona fide market makers write the contracts with the non-bona fide market makers. Cool. But this will go ahead and this will explain to you. Oh, it helps if I spell the word right. Flex options, buy rights, married puts. They would attach them all. Like I said, this is fucking in court documents, and they won. If this wasn't happening, they would have lost. Goldman Sachs even got fucked up on this one too. And Goldman Sachs was the piece of shit. It was Goldman Sachs who was doing all the fucking illegal shit and clearing it all. Goldman was clearing the fact that this guy was a bona fide market maker, but he wasn't. So Think of how many of these guys are clearing these things like hedge funds are bona fide market makers, but they're not. Think of how many they could be doing this with. The only reason that, like I said, the only reason, look at, the only reason that these guys got trouble is because they thought, like I said, they were acting like they were bona fide market makers, but they weren't. So they were trying to use the Madoff exemption and all this other shit, but they couldn't because they weren't bona fide market makers. That's the only reason why they got caught and lost. They would do this all, they'd get little Goldman over and be like, hey, they would call up Goldman, can you say I'm this and that? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and do these agreements in the back. You're going to write me these flex options because I'm a bona fide market maker when I'm nothing more than a hedge fund. But I'm going to get the exceptions. I'm going to get all the fun, all the good stuff. Okay, well, if that's all, even the fact anyone gets this is a joke. The fact anyone gets this is a fucking joke. Bona fide market maker. I'm a bona fide liquidity provider. No, you're a fucking criminal. But this took me a while to find these swaps here. So, I mean, if I learn a little bit more about these, but like I said, I mean, I'm asking people that they can't even explain this because the value, even me explaining to you how the swaps work, how could the basket value be this much? How could the basket value, this is the price. This isn't the notional value, guys. This isn't the notional amount. This is the price. You can look at everyone that can talk about the notional amount and all that. That's all on this side. That this is the one-to-ones. Even this one. How can you have it? How can it have the notional value of this, but have a leg of 5? Like what? That value is ridiculous still. Like, what the hell is going on? Like I said, these swaps out there, dude. This is why Europe's like freaking out. Because they got UBS all fucked up. They took on some swaps in the back end. And the size some of these are fucked up. And I'm not saying that, like, because, like, a lot of people are sitting there going, well, they had to pay this. But like I said, this is the value of the basket. So who the hell's going to take the risk on the other end is what I'm asking, I guess. Like, if there's somebody out there going, I want to take a bet of that equal, that the bet in all of these equities, and the total equities of all of these bets equals this, how in the living fuck? What? How much are you paying in fees? How much are you fucking paying daily in between? If it goes, like, here's my thing. How volatile is this swap? If anything goes down and you bet it the wrong way, even by the pennies, but you know what I'm saying? By the pennies, by $1. If it goes the wrong way by $1, what? Like, who out there is going, I'm going to take this fucking bet on this size and this, and then, like I said, what? This shit's fucking insanity. Like I said, this is right up on the DTC website. And like I said, guys, there's fucking data we don't see. There's swaps, and there's this stuff over here in the back end we don't see. Again, here you go. Here's your derivatives. And this is what they're reporting. This isn't, I guarantee you there's more out there than this. JP Morgan, this is billions. This isn't the billions. So this is 57 trillion. They have 57 trillion, 58 trillion at this point in fucking derivatives. Their exposure is 328 billion. What? How can you take on that much exposure? Who's allowing that? You're taking on 328 billion in exposure? Shouldn't there be a cap on this? No? But, I mean, that's literally mind-blowing. So I'm saying, like, the totals in this shit is fucking ridiculous. And it's like, people always wonder, how do they get away? How do they... there's like a secondary market on top of a secondary market, and on top of that, there's a third market. And people sit there and go like, well, these third markets, this doesn't affect this doesn't affect this. Yeah, it does. Because they can, instead of covering assets, instead of covering when a regulator's coming and saying, what is this hedge funds, what is their risk managed? What is their risk at? Do I need to margin call them because their risk is too high? Oh, they can just get swaps. That shouldn't be a fucking option. You shouldn't just be able to go hedge it all up and be like, well, instead of buying this, because like I said, you should be having to purchase the asset itself. Think about swaps themselves. What is the purpose of a swap? It's to basically have the underlying value of an asset without owning the asset itself. So it's like, instead of me wanting to buy the stock, well, that might move the price up. That might move this. It might expose more risk. Well, if nobody knows I'm doing it on a swap and I could just take a bet on it, it's like basically like I own the fucking thing without owning the thing. That alone is retarded. That alone, the swap idea, everything about him is fucking stupid. Like I said, so people that think this wasn't real, I haven't found it yet, but here's 5-10 of them just like it. So you can't say this isn't real exactly. What happened? My question is, so we understand this again. This is a variant basket equity swap. So what this is saying is they have a basket of equities and the value is X for this basket. You need to pay the differential between the variance in these assets by the expiration date. So if that's the case, if the expiration date is tomorrow and the value of these assets went the wrong way, in theory, they should have to pay the difference on the assets of those values. Like I said, I mean, I just don't understand how this is even possible. I don't understand how this is possible because this one's bigger. What is going on here? And like I said, it's not the notional quantity, the amount, nothing. This is the fucking price over here. These ones are the price, and this is just the Canadian ticker. Again, I don't know what ticker this man's looking at. I can't find one that just straight up says fucking equity. So he's on a different site than I'm on. I wonder if there's a Swiss one I can look through. There's got to be there's got to be another site that I'm not getting. Like I said, I don't know every single swap data website I'm sure I can talk to some people and find some more. I'll find this one if everyone cares enough to find this one. I just found this and then found enough to show you guys, like I said, these are out there. There are people out there that can't explain them that are like, yeah, I don't know how the value is that fucking ridiculous. Sells are up. It was cleared. Cleared is you. I mean, we could look over what the hell that means. What the fuck is you? I don't. Well, I could just. There you go. The hell is? What the fuck? You would think classic. Let's go like this. No, I'm not gonna do that. Jesus Christ. Oh, we'll find out. I don't know what you is. We'll find out. Cleared over here by you again. So see, we're gonna figure that out. What the hell's you? All of these are you. Almost. No, we got N. We'll figure this out here in a second. So, like I said, who the fuck is clearing these? How? And what the hell? Here, and this one here. See, this one here. This is in the United States. So this is like a United States fucking bank. Or this is a United States. The top one was that European bank. So this one's a fucking United States one. And this one's bigger. So, where's the date on this one? This has no expiration date. So what the fuck? So I don't know. Why doesn't this have an expiration date? I don't know what these are that don't have expiration dates. Like, what the fuck? These all have expiration dates. Why the hell does this not have an expiration date? I don't know. I'm going to look more into these. I just found these last night at like 4 in the morning. But like I said, this shit is crazy, dude. The swaps are ridiculous. The swap shit going around out there is way worse than people want to talk about. Here's like I said, this came out a while ago. This just talks about currency swaps alone. If there's an $80 trillion blind spot just in this asset of swaps alone, what the fuck how much is in the rest of them? How much isn't reported? How many of these contracts aren't even that were just cleared by bankers, were just burned away in these fires? How many are sitting in a warehouse somewhere? How many are sitting in a fucking super special server? We already showed you Doug Sifu had backup servers to all of his data and everything that other people could access. Citadel has servers that people that got fired didn't work there and actually had worked at other firms had access to. And they could go in there and see them. So it's not like they have just like, it's not like there's just one massive server. These fuckers got tons of these. That's what I'm saying. And that's what's fucked up. You don't know what server or what anything they're even showing these regulators. It's all self-reported. It is so fucking ridiculous. When Phase 6 came, what was supposed to happen and why I thought Phase 6 was going to be so fucking sweet for everybody is when you had these dumbass banks like criminal JP Morgan over here fucking around, and then you have this hedge fund come up to them, what they were supposed to do is when you'd have you have the agreement, you have a third party now, okay? This was supposed to be from the World Bank. So this third party was now supposed to oversee this. You were also in Phase 6 no longer supposed to be able to just slap on a credit support annex, okay? You actually needed to put down, they had a percentage, I can't remember what it was anymore, but you had to put down like 10% of your collateral. You actually had to put collateral down instead of a credit support annex. Phase 6 was supposed to now have somebody oversee that contract and that collateral being passed over here to here. That's what Phase 6 was supposed to do. Turns out, we own the World Bank. Go look at who basically owns the fucking World Bank. Oh, the fucking corruption over here in the United States. Sweet. And then on top of that, the rest of the world, as I've showed you, is so fucked, they have no grounds to hold us accountable. Because what are they going to do? They look into this shit and they're like, holy fuck, we weren't able to see behind the curtain before. You know right now how many of our fucking businesses go over there and do criminal nefarious things over there because the regulators don't look in certain positions. Well, they do the same thing. Because we don't have to report overseas positions. They do the same shit. They get certain exemptions and rules they can get around and loopholes by doing it over here. So all of a sudden everybody's intertwined and they go, well, if you hold us accountable, we'll hold your guys accountable. And everyone over in fucking France and Swiss and all this shit in Europe and UK, they're all fucked anyway. They're all fucked. UBS is like, oh man, we want a private fucking buyer. If I was not worried about bankruptcy, I would never in my life come out and go, hey, when I hit bankruptcy, I want a private buyer. Why? Because there's swaps like these fucking crazy ones that are out there that no one can explain the value, and we're just sitting there thinking, well, okay, well, either it's an accounting error, which if that's the case, upgrade your system and this shouldn't even be allowed. But it's really weird when you see things like that, and then when you read what they're for, and they're all about hedging. They're all about fucking being able to hedge and cover the risk attached to short volatility positions. So you can do, like I said, different type of swaps. These are only volatility ones. You can do different things with variant swaps. Like I said, there's equity swaps. You have all sorts of things. You saw the meme baskets being created. ETFs. They, like I said, there's so many ways for these guys to fuck around with the stock price. It is stupid. And that's why it's like, okay, right now they're going to hit it as hard as they can. And if you believe in everything we've gone over, if you've been watching this channel and if you've been watching these banks get fucked up the ass, if you've been watching them have to hide this and that and this and that, every which way, all these people that go, oh man, these things just get lost in a warehouse somewhere and they don't have to cover any of their obligations. It's an obligation. No, they still have to fucking, somebody still has to take the hot potato. Ask Archegos and UBS. Somebody still got to take all the bad shit in the back end. It doesn't just disappear. It gets transferred. And then it gets transferred again. And eventually, the hot potato has to stop. Nobody eventually can afford to take that. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to, and this is what I'm saying, since everything's so intertwined and these guys are so fucked, and why do these banks not want hedge funds to go under? They have all these contracts and shit. That's huge losses for these guys. That's why I'm saying, you want to know how to start a financial crisis. You want to know how to start this shit. You hit the fucking creditors. You dry credit up. You dry this ability up for hedge funds to go over to banks and say, let me just open up a bullshit contract for a small fee. You make them have to take this road. You fuck this road up. Put as many rocks, boulders, everything along the way and fuck this way up. And how do you do that? I don't normally agree with bankers, especially fucking criminal ones, but this dude, because he's going down, he's telling the truth right now. Private credit bubble could lead to the next financial crisis, says the guy who's having a private bubble crisis and is going to go down because he himself is having creditor problems. And this is what I'm saying. Who is the creditors to all the criminals? It's the fucking banks. So when you sit there and you fuck those banks up and they're having all these problems on their end, they can't keep taking these bad contracts. They can't keep giving these guys these bad deals that, hey, it's fine, this and that and this. They can't afford to keep taking on risk. They can't expose to $328 billion. Eventually these numbers have to go, what the fuck? Somebody somewhere has to say, what the hell? This is too high. At what point is this too high? $328 billion in exposure from fucking contracts? These contracts that I'm talking about right now? How the hell can JP Morgan take on that much exposure? It's fucking ridiculous. Could you imagine if suddenly you're just like, just so I can make some fees, I'll go on and take on $325 billion worth of fucking exposure. If anyone goes down, who cares? The government will just pay me it. What a fucking Ponzi scheme. Like I said, what a fucking... The financial system is such a fucking joke of a scheme. It's not even fucking funny. And then just to prove that, too, it's like, it's like, yeah, how do these guys get rich? How does nothing change? The problem is where's all the money go? Where does all the money go in the United States? It's simple. It goes to fucking pharmaceutical companies. I just showed you guys. What was the number one reason? People were fucking, number 1 and 2 reason people were taking money out of their 401ks. It jumped 30%. It's because of fucking medical bills. They sit there and you have medical people fucking gouging you up the ass. And then the other part of where's it all go? Wall Street. Well, who do you think's doing all the donations, the dark money? It's those two. That's where all the root of problems, all the corruption comes into. 3 branches. Pharmaceutical fuckers, Wall Street pieces of shit, and politicians. And what do I mean by these fucking pieces of shit? China's new cancer drug, I'm not even going to try and say the name, is approved in the U.S., but it'll cost 30 times more in the United States. And then they'll sit there and say, oh, it's shipping fees. No, it's not. It is not fucking shipping fees. In China, it's $280. But in the United States, it's fucking $9,000. You have pieces of shit out there like Martin Shkreli. That's why. Because you have fuckers that get a hold of this shit And then they go, you know what? We're going to upcharge them 1,000 billion% because no one else can fucking stop me. Pfizer, we need a new fucking thing. How the hell do you already have the fucking drug? Okay, so this is my point. You can say, well, there's different levels and degrees, and it's harder to cure this. The fuck, man? With how much time and money and effort and hours and this and that and this and that, you think the degree would of different types of diseases being fucking cured would be cured, right? No. When they want to cure something, or if they say they got the cure for it, it comes out in a week or two. Notice that? Oh, fuck, COVID. It's unheard of. It's this fucking crazy-ass thing. It's the craziest thing ever since the plague. It's fucking crazy. You're done. If you lost somebody to COVID, I apologize. But here they come out. This thing, the degree, it's a variant we've never seen. It's so fucking crazy. All of a sudden, bam, there's our fucking vaccine. China, there's an outbreak. There's this respiratory thing, and it's fucking everyone up, and they're having heart problems. Yesterday, Pfizer, we got the vax. We got it ready to go. We're going to start pumping it out over there. We're going to make billions. Yeah, we know. Fucking ridiculous. If they wanted to really do it, but they don't. But why? Because they can overcharge you 6,000 fucking % on a bag of saline. Here's a bag of fucking saline. Cost me, what, 16 cents, 5 cents, 3 cents, a half a penny to fucking create? But I'm going to charge you $400 because some fucking nurse had to walk over, hang this thing, hang it up, and then fucking pop it in. Okay. Then they sit there and you got these fucking assholes over here, the guys, the cops. We got some new law coming in. Like I said, the s.e.c. and politicians, there's no fucking difference. There's no fucking difference. We got this fucking law. It's gonna crack down. It's gonna fucking crack down on conflict of interest. It's gonna stop it. Yay, everybody, fuck yeah. Now we got them calmed down, don't worry about it. And then the first fucking sentence after they revised it 36 fucking times. The 36th revision, but again, doesn't count for bona fide market makers, doesn't count for liquidity concerns, and if you need to hedge, go ahead and fuck with the commodities. But everything else, what the hell's left? What else is left? So you're basically saying that, well, if you're trying to short this just to short it, you shouldn't do that. But if you need to hedge, and that's all you're going to say. If you want to short it to make profit, you don't give a fuck. You're just going to say, I wanted to hedge my position. Sweet. And bona fide market makers never give a fuck because it's the Wild West for them. They're exempt from every fucking thing. They don't give a shit. Anything they say in the name of market making liquidity, okay. Fucking joke. It's an absolute crime scene. And it's the same thing with these politicians. Here's this bill, you guys. Everybody's jacked up. They fucking praise the politician. And then by the time it actually goes through everything and gets fucking passed, it's been revised 60 times. And the people that it was intended to fuck up, it doesn't fuck up anymore. Notice that? Because it's everyone else. And then they get the exemption. So, in other words, if retail or these other citizens figure out how to do it themselves, we can now fuck them up because they're not bona fide market makers like us. Sweet, thank you. If they start up their own brokerage or anything like that, they got to play by the rules. Remember that? Did you remember that from crypto? You remember that 3 days ago from fucking crypto? When Warren's like, if these guys want to operate in the United States, they got to play by the rules of the regulators. In other words, they got to pay the right people. And they got to start paying all the politicians. FTX just paid Democrats, not politicians or Republicans. So we fucked them up. Oh, Binance? Guess what? You didn't pay us all either. And then we asked for more money and you told us no. So we're going to fuck you up too. And guess what? Just in time for our banks, who are the fucking biggest criminals in the world, guess what? They got their own crypto exchange, and guess what? It's ready to take off in full force. And guess what else? Tokenization from JP Morgan's already processing over $1 billion a day. So they already got their CBDCs going. Sweet. Fuck off. Like I said, all these tool bags, pieces of shit, are criminals. And if you want to get anywhere in the system, you got to fucking join it. And it's like, Jesus Christ, dude. At what point? I don't even know. I mean, buying and holding is definitely going to work because the thing is like I said, the number one reason why this is going to work is greed has collapsed every civilization. And there's been bigger ones than what we have done. And not only that, our greed is on a level no civilization has ever fucking come close to. Ever come close to. Eventually, credit will dry up. And what is the one thing I said forever? When they had an interview with bankers in 2008, they had all these fucking pieces of shit in a room. Congress was talking to them. And they were talking about money and dollars and all this shit. And they're talking about credit and all these guys are operating on credit. Why are they operating on credit and not money and cash and all these things? And all those bankers, their reply pretty much was, cash can only go so far. I can only do so much with cash. But with credit, I can stretch it beyond its value. Because they can fucking rehypothecate it. They can do this and that and this and spend what they don't fucking have. As long as they got a buddy or somebody that's willing to give them the credit for it. Boom! So I can either have $1 bill cash and I can hand it to a person at a register and that dollar in my life cycle, in that transaction cycle is gone. It's now in the hands of that cashier. It is put in a register. The limit I can do on that $1 bill, it's done. But if I have a credit of $1 in the banking system, credit in the financial system, I can rehypothecate that value how many times over? When credit for these private fuckers starts to dry up, this is the one thing I said forever. This is how you get your fucking MOAS. And if you watch me forever, you know I've said the same thing. You fuck up their credit. You fuck up the people. Because think about this. It's so easy, simple. You don't even need to think about this as your everyday life. If I'm over leveraged, if I need money and I want to keep spending, if I want to stay afloat, how can I do that? I need credit of some kind if I don't have the ability to, or the influx of cash. I need to have credit to back it then. And that could be as simple as going to a bank and getting credit. It could be as simple as going to your parents and borrowing temporary credit through your parents. There's tons of ways that you can do that. And that is, like I said, these fucking bankers, they think about it this way. Like I said, if you take away their ability, they're all overvalued. They're all over leveraged. We've shown you they're all over leveraged. So they don't have the income. And now I showed you that people are leaving these banks at the biggest rate in history of humanity. People, you guys, in 2023, 1.2 trillion. 1.2 trillion left the banking system and went to money market funds. 1.2 trillion. That is fucking insanity. JP Morgan's the biggest bank out there, and they have 2.5 trillion. So them losing that much in a year is a big deal, and they said next year it's supposed to be even higher. They expect even more to leave the banking system. That is fucking insanity. So guess what? These banks are going to have harder and harder times. So these people that are going, yeah, we're going to go ahead and approve these things and take the risk on, they're not going to have credit themselves to back it up or do anything. Where in the fuck? And it's going to be more and more and more costly for these guys. And they're going to need to say, all right, if we're going to do a contract over here, I'm going to need more of a fee up front. And it's going to go up and up and up. And eventually these fucking assholes, guess what the hedge funds are going to say, just to cover these fees that are more expensive? Fuck. They're going to go, well, you know what? I'm going to have to actually sell some assets Maybe cover a couple positions. Maybe now, when the fees get to a certain price, a certain point, maybe now that second road's looking a little more attractive. Fuck it. I'm just gonna close these fuckers out. It's cheaper for me to fucking close this risk out when douchebag sends little fucking Freddy boy over here to come and see what's going on. See if my risk is too high. Because like I said, man, they use this shit, these swaps, and they use it to cover their fucking short risk. They use it to hedge their risk. Well, if you can't hedge for your positions, if you take the bank's ability away, if you take their ability away to hedge from these fucking positions, if there's less and less out there willing to give them more credit, if Bill Hwang didn't have so many fucking banks willing to participate in it, he couldn't have got such a high number. If there's less and less and less people out there willing to give these guys that credit, and the ones that are demanding more and more and more of a fee, now these hedge funds need to start actually making choices. All right, I'm gonna read the chat before I keep going, just because I don't think I've looked at the chat for I've been going for an hour and a half. I don't think I've looked at the chat, so I apologize. Does anyone have any questions about anything I've gone over? Anything else? Does anyone not understand anything? Does anyone need the link again to these swaps? Does anyone need... Here's the link to the swap. Here's the Investopedia link, so you guys can go and look at the swaps, different types of swaps. Like I said, first thing you want to do when you come look at this data, you can see right over here, it tells you the product name. So before you look at the swap itself, look at what type it is. This one's a dividend swap. So this one up here for the $999 is a dividend swap. So what's that mean? Is during that time, he'll pay a fee for it, and they will pay out the dividends. So basically, he's basically thinking he's going to be getting some higher dividends than the fees. And that's what I'm saying. That, to me, is what's bullshit, is these guys can basically get dividends through swaps but by banks. They can get all the benefit. You can get any benefit in some type of swap in owning a security than actually owning the security. So at that point, why would you want to own the fucking security? And that's why I hate these things so much. It takes incentive away for these pieces of shit to actually buy the equities, the securities, which completely changes the value of all these stocks. If I don't have to buy the thing to hedge or close anything out, and I can just fucking hedge my risk over here real quick and find a willing bank to take on some things quick, that is why you have... Think about it, you guys. These fuckers should have been collapsed. You should have seen more We've seen some, but there should have been more. And the only way they're getting by is through these fucking banks taking on this risk, these massive fucking risks through swaps. You have $846 billion in fucking derivatives exposure and swaps that these fucking... Well, think about if these swaps are... If $846 billion in swap exposure... For these main 25, this is only 25 banks, by the way. This is just 25 fucking banks. There's a lot more out there. So if you only have these 25 douchebags doing this much, and that's what they're reported, you also have hidden fucking swap pension funds and other non-bank financial firms. Who's that sound like? Oh, you mean fucking hedge funds? Have more than 80 trillion of hidden off-balance sheet debt in FX swaps. What the fuck? Second this comes out, why isn't anybody making an arrest or something? Why isn't anybody give a fuck, dude? Policymakers are warning that there's a blind spot. Well, if policymakers are warning that there's an $80 fucking trillion blind spot, shouldn't the fucking policymakers fix it? Here, we're going to warn you there's a problem over here, but we're not going to fucking do anything about it. Okay, well, get your head out of your asses and, I don't know, do something about it. I don't care if you warn me. What the fuck's that? What is that going to do? What am I going to do about it? Nothing. So fucking do something about it. The FX market surveys that it has a 2.2 trillion worth of currency trades that are at risk of failing to settle on any given day. Well, if there is 2.2 trillion worth of currency trades that are at risk of failing on any fucking day, is that not a problem? So any day we can have 2 trillion fucking dollars worth of something not clear? Is that not a problem? Shouldn't that be, I don't know, taken care of, covered? Is that not a lot of fucking money? That's mind-blowing. That's mind-blowing. Like, see what I'm saying? Like that shouldn't even be fucking plausible. What? 2.2 trillion? Think about that. 2.2 trillion is at risk of daily defaulting. Daily defaulting. That's just in that swap. That type of swap, you guys. How much is it at risk of defaulting daily in every other type of swap? I don't know. Biggums, why did you talk about the derivatives market for the first year and a half? Because it's, if you understand the derivatives market, what the fuck's going on over there? Why is trillions thrown around and hidden? And well, if trillions and trillions and trillions are hidden, if 2 times all of national currency assets and value, which is fucking 40 trillion, if 2 times that's all fucked up in one swap, what are we doing here? Blows my mind. What's going to happen, in your opinion, on December 14th and 15th? Well, December 14th and 15th, they're going to have, on the 13th, they have that basket. So I expect those meme stocks to rise, because, which means logically they're not gonna. But logically, when this meme basket closes, you have to remember, they had 98% of that fucking meme basket loaned out. So now those got to be repurchased. So in theory, they need to go to the market and they need to repurchase those shares and get these loaned out ones covered as well. Well, we also showed you that they loaned those fucking shares out multiple times. How many times in those ETFs were those shares used as locates? Do you see what I'm saying? So now, in theory, they should need to go and cover all those locates for that ETF closing. But when things are logical, I don't know. I can't tell you what's going to happen with the price, but logically, they should have to buy those fucking equities. Or so securities. Nothing will happen because they'll fucking swap it with someone else or do some bullshit. But in logic and theory and according to their rules, what should happen, like I said, is when that ETF goes down, and with all those, and you're talking about all those options, those billions in options. I mean, I'm not sure, because it's like, one of the things is that it scares me is when I was told you guys we spent 4.3 billion in securities that week. I can't remember the number that was spent on options, but it was in the billions. Like, it was way in the billions for retail buying options, and a lot of people hit that up right there. So it's like a lot of people are expecting maybe very good things then, and I feel like it was a lot of retail buying those options. And now you have, obviously, you're going to have hedging and things taking place for that, but I don't know. When a lot of retail buys and expects, and a lot of retail wants a certain way, just be prepared is all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? Hedge your bet, safely, trying to be a hedge fund for a second. If you're expecting it and logically all these things are coming due and all this, well, market makers love option premiums. They fucking love it. They absolutely fucking love it. So I'm sure they're working their ass off right now with algos on what they need to get done. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I try not to hype every single event, and then ones that are super hyped up, I mean, at least try to be like, no. I get that it was a shit ton, and yeah, there's potential for it, and logically, according to their own system, their own rules, their own casino, this should happen. But for 3 years of me telling you, logically, this should happen, I'm going to provide you with the information. And this is what I told somebody yesterday. Because I get this a lot, and it drives me fucking nuts. All you do is give hopium and shit, and I go, I don't give fucking hopium, bro. I give out information. It is not my responsibility for you emotionally how you absorb that information. If I put out facts out there, and I'm showing you this with the derivatives right here, and I'm showing you this information, it's not up to me to be like, you guys, this is hope for this. You take that information, you go digest it how you want to, and you feel about how you want to feel about it, and think about what you want on it. And then go research it and educate yourself and do your own thing. I'm not out here trying to find all these. I'm not out here trying to, everybody, we got to feel. No. Here's what I'm going to show you. You're a big boy. You're a big girl. You can digest it your own way. Like, people are acting like I got to fucking hold people's hands in the community, or I'm just, oh, fuck you. You're just, no, dude. I'm just out here trying to give you guys as much information as I can in the world, because there's so much fucking bullshit going on. And if I'm not out there and other YouTubers aren't out there showing you this shit, and TikTokers aren't showing you the real articles, yeah, they're out there, but how many of you know where to look? How many of you even care to look? That's my, here, all you guys that fucking hate YouTubers, yeah, trust me, there are plenty to hate. There are fucking plenty to hate. But people that are out there just giving you, here, look at this information, look at this information. How many of you, yeah, you can say whatever you want, but how many of you would even bother to look even if you knew where to look? Not many. I see how lazy some people are, dude. You guys don't even understand how many hours and shit I'm putting into this shit. Like, dude, and just reading this shit and talking to people in finance and this and all this crap. That's why it's like, dude, if you think any type of job that I have has anything to do with the knowledge I've absorbed over 3 years of just talking to finance guys, reading fucking filings, S.e.cs, reading lawsuit after lawsuit, reading these guys' explanations of this and that and how this works and that works. Dude, you can do anything you want. You can learn and be anything you want. At this point in life, there's Google, there's YouTube. You can learn anything. And that's one thing. My first job when I worked in computers, I didn't know a fucking thing of programming. I didn't know a single fucking thing. I literally didn't know how to write one line of code. And then I got hired. I don't know how, but I got hired. And I was in customer support, and they ended up throwing me right into SQL. And, eventually I had to learn JavaScript, HTML, because I ended up doing something, later on called Doc Center. And one of the things, I ended up opening up this department, and my job was basically to make this product for temp agencies that when people would come in, and that's why, dude, I fucking loved what I did, man. I ran this product that, when you would go have a temp agency, and they would have so many people come in a day. And imagine you're going to a temp agency, okay? How many forms do you have to fill out by fucking hand, or go in and type and do all this bullshit? How much of that do you think they have to do in a day? Well, think of how many more people you can get to work if I walk in there and all I do is put my fingerprint down. Everything signed for every brand new job. And people, dude, I got more people to work at temp agencies faster. Sweet, dude. I was helping out people. I loved it, dude. But like I said, I didn't know shit at that fucking job at first. I didn't know anything. And every day I just watched YouTube for weeks on end. I ended up becoming one of their best programmers. I ended up going into development. They gave me like I said, I ran my own department. We created our own product. Sweet, dude. It was fucking sweet. But you can learn anything, dude. Anything at this point. People just gotta want to learn to look. So, like I said, how you absorb the information is up to you guys. I'm not going to hold your hand or tell you how to feel about it. All right, I'm going to... Is AMC down today? Dude, I don't even care, man. I don't even look. If I'm not going to buy right now, I get paid fucking tonight. I'll buy some more tomorrow. Good, thank God. The price went down for me, so when I buy tomorrow... Like I said, if you believe in the cause, it doesn't fucking matter. If you believe in the cause, you believe in the message, you believe that we're going to take these fuckers down, the price doesn't need to be $5, doesn't need to be $15. It just needs one fucker to not... This right here. This is what you need. You need one piece of shit that can't find fucking... That can't find credit, and his other positions have closed too much. He can't find credit to back this up. And it just takes one guy to get margin called to jump up to 15, 20, to jump up to anything. It doesn't need to be at a certain level. Just to make yourself feel better. Let's say AMC went up to $14, $15, $25 and it sat there for a month. Does it matter? In the big scheme of things, if it doesn't squeeze from that price, no, we're here for a fucking squeeze play. Yes, it puts more pressure on them. And that's what we're all about. Putting as much pressure on your fucking opponent, which is shorts, which is banks, which is market makers, which is hedge funds, which is retail shorts, who are the ones sitting there fucking chiming all day long on Twitter. You're fucked. Yeah, I know. I'm super fucked because you want to make more fucking money on your position. I got it. That's who you're fucking against, guys. Nobody seems to ever focus on that. We have opponents. Fuck up what they can do, and that's how you get your squeeze. Wait, let this shit collapse. Let all of these fuckers, like I said, the greed alone is killing them. Not only is it killing them, they're not stopping. We're spending at a higher rate than we've ever been in the fucking nation at this point. We're borrowing at the treasuries. You have so many bubbles. Tell me right now, what the hell is going to happen in the housing market? I can't tell you because 40% of houses in the United States are paid off. None of them will sell. Not a single one of them will sell their house. None. Not a single one of them will sell their house to fucking take on a loan at 8%. Not a single one. 40% of your housing market in the United States is already off the table. Already gone. On top of that, you had another, 50 fucking 6% of, or 66% or whatever it was of the loans that are under 3% currently. None of them are going to refinance. None of them are going to sell. So the only available supply you're going to get are new houses, which I already showed you. New homes are being built fucking super slow. It was back to 1960 levels or whatever it was. Sorry, I can't remember. I have too many dates. But new houses are slowing down immensely. And the ones that they're building are super, super, super small just so they can try and make them affordable. So you're not going to get a supply other than people who are getting foreclosed. Well, nobody can afford to buy the ones that people are getting foreclosed on even. Because you have to remember, BlackRock and fucking the Feds also bought up. The Feds bought $2.7 trillion in mortgage-backed securities. They're not. How many is that now that aren't going to be fucking sold? How many houses did BlackRock come in and scoop in at the top to bail out? So your supply is completely fucking locked. It's locked. Other than the have-tos or the people that are going, dude, I don't know if this shit's even going to get better. I'm not going to wait. There's no point. Because if it ever does, I'll refinance, but it might get worse. Like I said, the supply, you have that bubble. You have your treasury bond bubble. You have your stock market bubble. You have your derivatives bubble. There's a bubble everywhere. Fucking everywhere. You have your economy bubble. Because now, like I said, your Fed are losing money they're losing money every day. And I showed you their unrealized losses are in the 1.5 trillion mark at this point. They've never had unrealized losses that low, even close to that. So, I mean, you have bubbles and credit and their printer and everyone that is backing them drying up. Meanwhile, AMC next year, we should be profitable as fuck. Profitable as fuck. Finally. Dilution should finally start coming off the fucking table. We should be able to start paying down debt. Like I said, we should be making... Dude, look at the lineup next year. It is twice as good as the lineup this year. Twice as good as it was. And if Adam Aaron does literally give out 7 concert films like he said, that's 5 more. That's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars coming more. Income you didn't have this year. And if he signs a movie or 2, holy shit. That Run Noah, I'm going to check out when that is coming out, but that is another movie we're distributing. But those production things that we're getting into, Roblox, Sex Roblox comes out in 2025. I wish it would have came out this next year. That would have been sweet, but if we keep going, candy, alcohol, more popcorn, we're on Amazon, people, like, we're selling the fuck out on Amazon. We'll be feeling good, guys. Just relax, give it a little time, let them eat themselves. But these contracts, I just want, oh yeah, you got Beyonce coming out, Godzilla's out, there's Wonka coming out, Aquaman, Ferrari. So December is still going to be our best month. If you guys look over here, this doesn't count today's numbers. So we will definitely jump over 1.1 billion at the box office in Q4. I said that December the whole time should be our best month just off those movies I announced. All of those should be our best month of this quarter. I still feel like, or just, this should be our best month. So I still feel we can maybe get about 2.1. So guys, like I said, get to the movies, bring your family, let everyone know, go see Godzilla, Beyonce. If you're not into concert movies, go see Godzilla. When the hell's Aquaman come out? I think Aquaman comes out on like the 20th or something. But you got Wonka on the 15th, Ferrari. So this is what we need. We need to beat them in profits while their credit's drying up. We need us to keep beating earnings, and we need us to keep on not having any reason to dilute, and you get that through profits with AMC. So like I said, guys, go see a movie, go see a movie, go see a movie. We are way down from the previous quarters. But we got some distribution this quarter compared to last quarter. We had no distribution. So we also, one of the big things he was talking about was the merchandise sales in this quarter. He we went up next year with all those concert films. He's talking about it. We went from 10 million in merchandise to, he thinks next year we should also be over 100 million in merchandise. That's sick. So this quarter, we should get in, a couple of extra hundred, maybe an extra, I don't know what we're going to sell on those Taylor Swift and these Beyonce things. I mean, my God, when you saw every single person that went to Taylor Swift, every single one of them had like 5 of those merchandise things. They all bought the cup, the thermos, the wand, the little flashing thing, the poster, dude. Everyone on Twitter had every single one of them. So those merchandise sales are going to help out a lot in Q4 here. And we should get the merchandise, part of the merchandise sales through, the distribution from other companies as well. Let's see, I think I went over everything here. But yeah, if you want to check out those swaps, there's that link. Oh yeah, the banks are still getting fucked. I'm showing you guys their unrealized losses from 2008 compared to today. So these guys didn't learn their lesson in 2008. You got rates, you got, everything coming back on them. If you look at their unrealized losses now compared to any other year previously, they're like 4 times over in everything, dude. Hell to mature, it's just like, dude, these guys are getting fucking owned, dude. And that's the thing. The feds can't lower rate anytime soon. They're losing money that, like, this is going to get worse. And like, what was it? 2 weeks ago, we showed you it was 650 billion. 2-3 weeks ago. It's up to 683 billion now, guys. 683 billion. It went up 38 more billion in one fucking quarter. So if it does that again, they're going to have over 700 billion in unrealized losses. Yeah, everybody's going to go, yeah, they can hold it to maturity. And okay, and then what? Rates aren't, most of these are going to mature before rates come down. Oh yeah, phase 6. Another thing that's going to hit these guys and these banks, which is sweet for us, more initial margin requirements. So these guys are going to have higher margin requirements. Let's go. That is nice, especially since you're seeing all these problems over with UBS. Well, guess what? Now they're going to have some more. They're going to need to go ahead and get some more fucking... Well, they have to put down some more collateral. We're feeling good, guys. We're feeling good. More people are getting to get fucked here. Like I said, more people that are hiding in the shadows will now be affected. This goes to people exceeding 8 billion now. If you look at the chart here, this was one of the parts and final phases of phase 6, was one of the bigger margin requirements. But, of course, they were taking their sweet time. So, Not saying that, you know, obviously I've learned my lesson with saying phase 6 is going to do something, but technically more pressure is being applied. And that's, like I said, that's what it's all about. Fucking up these opponents and applying as much pressure as we can. Supporting our company as much as we can in the meantime. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to hate Adam Aaron. You can hate Adam Aaron, like Adam Aaron. I don't give a fuck. You don't have to like the coach on your team. You just got to, you know, love your teammates, love your goals, believe in the cause. And as they said on the 76ers, just trust the process, you know. We got a long climb, boys and girls. We're going against the biggest corruption in the United States. Alrighty, it's 3:20 or 3:30. I've been going for about 2 hours here. Does anyone have any questions? I think I'm gonna get going here. Maybe I gotta go clean some things up in the yards and stuff. Got some things I gotta do before it gets super cold here. What's my money idea making at cinemas? My money idea making for cinemas and Adam Aaron next is to get into production. I wish he would get into making cinemas, making movies, because all of our CEOs, all of our board members, they don't have to be super involved, but they all have experience in the movie industry and production industry. So they can also oversee these things. You can see there's certain movies out there. $25 million was all Friday Night at Freddy's costed, and it grossed over, I can't even remember what it grossed over. It was like $200 million already. So you can make, if you just get the right one, and that's the thing, it's like, you can go find these types of Freddy's, you know, Friday Night at Freddy's. You can go buy these things that have backings, and then, you know, get into the things, get the rights to do it, and then produce it with them. With the writers. That's what they're doing with Roblox. If we start doing things like that, and then produce it with them, get the director, whatever they want to do, have them be in the writing thing. Those could be massive. That could be massive revenue sources that we're just handing over to, you know, these production studios. Fuck those production studios. Start taking their business away. So if, you know, I feel like if you were in the movie industry, we're in the entertainment, but use your knowledge and use your expertise in that field. I feel like they could definitely make a good movie. Like, we don't have to use that much money. Even if we did a $25 million, you know, budget on a movie, Apes alone would fucking spend more than that. You know what I mean? Apes alone. Even if they were like, all right, we're going to do production, we're going to distribute it only in our theaters. We alone would cover that $25 million. Easily. And on top of that, I always tell everybody, our number one thing we can do also to help our company, you guys, if you see a trailer to a movie, fucking share it. That is free advertisement for AMC. They spend millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions these companies do per company on advertisement, because it's that important. You can advertisement for free. You can go down my Twitter. I put up a movie all the fucking time. We should be, right away off the top, right off the bat, Godzilla. We should always be sitting here, everyone. If you own stock, oh, we'll get into this in a second here. Let me go here before I forget that. Let me go ahead and get back to this here quick. You guys like my new picture here? I changed my picture on Twitter, and 8 made it for me. I thought it was pretty badass. I got this other one here. I'm going to switch to it, but Twitter's being stupid, and it's, I got this other one. Twitter's keeps telling me my profile's under review, so it's not letting me do it, but I'm going to put this one up. I think that's badass, though. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know what the hell those words are there. I don't know what the hell that says. I don't know what language that is, but the AMC's cool. I mean, I just thought that was funny. He's got a Coke all over him, too. But, hold on. Even here, like I said, Billboard, Beyonce. It's like the best way, one of the best things we can do for our companies, guys. Even if you're not going to see the movie, put it up, and somebody might want to see it, and then never even thought about it. Like I said, it's a huge thing for us to do. If you're playing the Bigum's drinking game, you are drunker than shit, because one of the things to do was say, take a shot every time I said like I said, or and I just said it 3 times in a row. So you're feeling real good if you're playing the Bigum's drinking game right now. I apologize. Boom. But advertisement, man, I'm telling you guys, every single one of you is the best way. All right. I think we went over everything. We'll see how these tokenizations go. Anyone have any questions, though? I've been going on for like 2 hours, man. Look at all the crime we're exposing. I love it, man. Here you go. We're even talking Deadpool 3. There's the puppers on Deadpool 3. He's called Dead Dog. Or Dog Pool, I mean. Little Dog Pool. And Deadpool 3 is going to fucking kill it next year. Deadpool 3 will kill it next year. Like, I'm not going to say it. Next year's lineup is so much better. It is insane. Insane. Problem is, I'm sitting there, and it's like you guys are thinking I'm going, days and days, but I haven't even gone a week. I went 1 week. I just put too much stuff up, and I've put up three movie ads. But that's what I'm saying. Just as many as you can get out, my friends. Look at this. Look at these popcorn tins for Wonka. They're pretty badass, actually. Yeah, me and Randall kind of talked about it a little bit there. I mean, we understand it, but neither one of us can figure out how they can possibly have value in the swaps of fucking that amount. Still, it's retarded. Doesn't make any sense. Is this guy retarded? Another reverse split is okay. Do we get transparency? Not enough. We're not gonna get enough, that's for sure. But I don't think we'll need it. I think they'll just collapse it on himself, man. Hopefully we'll get transparency. What we need once we get this bomb, because this bomb's gonna blow, and when it blows, it's gonna be so fucking catastrophic. They're gonna have no choice but to fix something. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna bounce, though. It's been a long time here. I hope everyone has a good night. Thank you for listening, and like I said, I'll be probably live. What day is it? I'll probably be live next Saturday. Saturday or Sunday. But have a good night, guys. Thank you.